Welcome to the Virtual Bowl Boys podcast. My name is Chris, and I'm joined once again by my good buddy Matt.
Before we continue the podcast, you must answer me these questions 3.
Okay, hello, Mr. Riddleman. How you doing?
What is your name?
His name is Chris.
What is your quest?
It's to talk about football in a nerdy way.
What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
I would say it's about like 13 kilometers per second.
You forgot to ask if it was an African or European swallow. Test failed.
Virtual Bowl Boys was brought to you. That ending just playing out right there. Welcome.
Can't believe you didn't get a Monty Python reference.
I don't see. I never watched a lot of Monty Python. I watched. I've seen Spam-A-Lot, but I don't know if that was in Spam-A-Lot. I've never
Vaguely. It's in the movie Spam-A-Lot was based off of, but the African and European swallow was in Spam-A-Lot.
Okay, yeah, it was a very subtle reference that I do not think I would have gotten in a million years. Because there's a lot of, no, it's okay. I feel like the flesh wound thing is probably the big thing I take away from that, and also the French people mooning everyone or whatever. I forget that there was also that element to it, and God, which I believe you played in your
I did. We had to change the line from "Of course it's a good idea, I'm God you stupid tit," to "I'm God you stupid twit."
Oh, well, that's an easy change at least. We've had to jump through hurdles through name changes over the years. Sorry, this is really sidetracking here, but
okay.
One last thing, I remember back when I was in like 4th grade or 5th grade or something. I was in orchestra, and we were going to do for our finale piece was "Live and Let Die" by Paul McCartney. And we were gonna change which no one was singing during it, but we're still gonna change it to "Live and Let Live," and then
is that a different song?
No, it's the same song. They were just gonna change the lyrics, which I don't even think it would make sense at that point. And then we just ended up not doing it after working on it for weeks, and it was because parents called in and said that they did not want us to perform a song that had the word "die" in it.
I see.
It was a weird time, early 2000s.
Censorship.
yeah, apparently.
Welcome to the Virtual Ball Boys podcast.
Yeah, welcome everyone.
4 minutes in.
Yeah,
3 minutes.
This is we are I'm currently dealing with some illness, so I apologize if I'm not at my peak, performance here, peak male performance as I usually am. So we'll see how it plays out. But I felt like the best medicine for not feeling very well is to spread a little love. And so for our first segment, we're gonna talk about the teams that we haven't given enough love to on an individual basis, because I think that there's, you and I have had joint love for teams. You've loved teams more than me. I've loved teams more than you, and so this is our opportunity to kind of like really give love to the teams that have earned it over the first 5 weeks of the season. And so that's the segment. And Mr. Matt, you can get started.
All right, so I want to extend some love to the Indianapolis Colts, a team that has scarred me in the past, and by past I mean when I was in 5th grade by beating the Bears in the Super Bowl. But they were a team that I completely discounted from Super Bowl contention just because Andrew Luck was no longer the quarterback, and I thought that he was a big impact in the Colts' success, just given recent history. But the Colts are a really good team. They have a lot of depth And when all their players are playing 100%, they are a force to be reckoned with. So, Colts, I apologize,
Yeah.
and I wish you the best of luck in the future.
Yeah, they proved it on Sunday night against the Chiefs. It was really an outstanding performance. For me, the first team I want to extend my wholehearted forgiveness or for my wholehearted apologies to is to the Packers, because I had no faith in this team. I thought the argument could have been made that the Packers were going to be the worst team in the NFC North and potentially one of the worst teams in the NFC. And it was one of the few times that I really doubted Aaron Rodgers, and I regret that because they are just soaring right now. They beat up on the Cowboys. Like the Cowboys tried to come back, but the Packers held on, and it was magnificent performance, and they've been playing well every single week. They had one hiccup against the Eagles, which I think that they need to find more offensive consistency overall, but I think it's an all-around good team, and I don't think that we should doubt them for NFC contention at this point.
Yeah.
So
Unfortunately, I agree.
so I am
I
all in on the
I will
Packers.
still not extend my love to the Packers, but
Fair enough.
I understand.
Yeah.
The next team I would like to extend some love to is the Buffalo Bills.
Mm.
And the reason I want to extend this love to the city of Buffalo is that you actually have a team that can contend on both sides of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
As weird as your offense is, and it doesn't seem like you have like a dedicated wide receiver one, it's probably John Brown. But all this stuff going on, you have the material and the team to really give the Patriots a run for their money. Buffalo, you could have won that game if that punt wasn't blocked.
Mm.
You probably would have won that game if that punt wasn't blocked. So, Buffalo, you are a team to be reckoned with this season.
Yeah.
I send my love to Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls, yeah. The Bills their defense is their showcase. It's really awesome to watch. Next up, to a team that Go Cubs is a huge fan of, but I've been running hot and cold with for a while now, and ironically, in a moment where they do not have their main guy, their main star at quarterback, that the fact that they're doing so well right now and just beat a tough Jaguars team, another one of Mr. Matt's love.
Yes.
In the Panthers, I mean, they're legit, and it starts with Christian McCaffrey, who we'll get to a little bit later, who's been just an amazing running back, and the defense has stepped up big time. I would say that even the secondary, who I was not high on at all going into the season, I thought that was one of their weaker units, is looking out of their mind great. And Kyle Allen is doing what he can to keep this team afloat, and he's been doing really well. And I don't see that being a major setback for them moving forward. I mean, they're going to London this week. And right now, I don't see this team slowing down anytime soon. And I extend my love to you. You deserve it. And I think that you're the one team that could potentially save the NFC South from another Saints title contention.
It makes me so happy to hear you say that.
I listen. It is finally time that I could be all in on the Panthers. Just don't let me down on Sunday.
Yeah, Jesus.
Anyways,
the final team I would like to extend some love to is a team that is surprisingly undefeated. And that is the it is the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah. You look at the division that they're in. You have the Seahawks and the Rams. The Rams were the NFC champions last year. The Seahawks have been perennial playoff contenders in recent memory. And you just don't see any path for the 49ers, even if they play well, to succeed.
Yeah.
And then they come out and do what they need to do to have a really successful start to the season. And this defense is wild, led by Richard Sherman and Nick Bosa. They are dominating.
Yeah.
And you get this magnificent run game with a combination of Matt Breida and Tevin Coleman now, who is healthy again, and they're so hard to stop. So 49ers, I extend your love. If you win the division, I will be very happy. I understand, as a Bears fan, I understand the recent plight of non-success.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Garoppolo, man. It's the two remaining undefeated quarterbacks are both from freaking New England. It's just this.
Yep.
At least it's spreading to other places and not staying in one spot. And by the way, I know that they're probably the Patriots probably we've been kind of like not wanting to give love to the Patriots. Well, because they always get love. And I'm not gonna give them any. I'm not gonna give them any more love. They don't need it from us. We're like a 0.01% of lovage that we would be giving to the Patriots. They don't need it. They're filled up with love. They're a giant heart in the sky over the northeastern coast.
Nobody believes in us, they say every year.
Yeah.
Because we don't fucking want to.
we would prefer not to. The Raiders, look, this is a weird one for me, but I have to give it up to the Raiders, and they've won 2 straight now against 2 good teams. And I know Chase Daniel was the quarterback for the Bears, and Daniel was the one that gave it up at the end for the Bears. I'm not trying to sit here and make it seem like the Raiders are these world beaters. They're not yet, but the game plan that John Gruden put out, who I have been who is someone along with you, Matt, who we've just relentlessly shat on ever since he traded away Khalil Mack, and he completely controlled Mack on Sunday. He had such a master game plan to shut down the Khalil Mack monster. I think he had like a tackle, and that's about it. He recovered a fumble, and that they had a pass rush, which we haven't seen from the Raiders in a long time. They had 4 sacks. They're getting some kind of semblance of a receiving core. It's not great yet, but it's almost there. And then you have Josh Jacobs, who is he's the guy that you took, I believe, with the Bears pick that you got.
Yes.
And he just destroyed the Bears defense. It was such a magnificent performance, and it kind of shows you that they're probably the second best team in the West, AFC West at the moment, and if the
playoffs started today, the Raiders would be in the playoffs.
They have tools there that they could make a push, and they could get nasty with these teams. They
get nasty.
They can. I say that with the full with knowing the Raiders and their kind of rebellious nature, behind their mascot and everything. They are just nasty individuals, and it's a nasty team. And I think that they could do well. Could you imagine
this being the Oakland send off?
Could you say that one more time? You cut out for a second.
Can you imagine if this was their Oakland send off? Goodbye, Oakland. Enjoy a playoff.
Yeah. It could very well be. I mean, I certainly don't think this is like a Super Bowl team anyway. But no. I think, considering that you have some tough teams to compete against, but they can make a run. I don't, and they've already got a Chiefs game out of the way, so they don't have to worry about the Chiefs until much later in the season. So. Yep. That's the good thing. So, my love to the Raiders. You deserve it.
Yes.
Next up.
Real fast.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
We have a Matt Watch update.
Oh, God. It's been a long time. Thank you for bringing that back.
It has. The Falcons place punter Matt Bosher. Bosher?
I think you're right. Bosher's correct.
Bosher. Place punter Matt Bosher on IR. We have a double Matt Watch update.
Oh my God.
The Atlanta Falcons sign punter Matt Weil.
Whoa.
They replace a Matt with another Matt. It's double Matt Watch.
It's a Mattception.
This has been Matt Watch.
Wow. It's enlightening. So, next up.
This is my favorite segment.
The NFL... The NFL, we kind of focus on the villains a lot of the times, and I would love to do a later segment where we focus on the villains, but we need to talk about some of the guys that just seem like they're like the good guys of the league right now. The guys you want to root for a lot, and they're the protagonists. And so, with our virtual moniker in mind, we're going to go protagonists. The NFL's protagonists in the sense of we're going to talk about players or others in that instance, coaches, whoever. And compare them to our video game equivalent of a hero in these settings. So I guess I could start this one.
Yeah, you start this one.
So the first person I'm going to talk about is Shaq Barrett, and I think that I keep on bringing him up, but I just think he's a guy every single week who's just come out of nowhere and has just dominated on the defensive line. Even last week in a loss against the Saints, he had a sack, he had a few tackles. He's still in the action. He is doing so much, and we never expected him to be at this level. And he's just swallowing guys up. And when I think about a protagonist that swallows, wink wink, that's Pac-Man. And Pac-Man, it just, to me, it's just, I know that we initially had a player back in the day, Adam Pac-Man Jones, but this guy I feel like embodies the Pac-Man, where he goes after these quarterbacks and they look like ghosts when they go after him. He's just destroying people right now. He's playing out of his mind, and I think the only other defensive player, I mean, maybe few defensive players that are playing better are Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald. There's outside of that, he is just doing incredible work, and I think that he should be in contention for defensive player of the year. I look forward to the fact that the Buccaneers are going to have a big time platform again on Sunday when they play in London, because I think that he'll get in on the action at least a little bit more. So Shaq Barrett is Pac-Man as of right now.
All right. I'm gonna go with kind of the face of the NFL right now, and the kind of person, the kind of player that you want to root for.
Yeah.
The true protagonist of the NFL, Patrick Mahomes. He is everywhere right now, and it kind of popped up in the past year with his great season last year, but it's the idea that this is the standard that right now all quarterbacks are being compared to. Mm-hmm. Just in the same way that all video games are compared to Mario. And this character / this person's quest to save the princess / win a Super Bowl. Yeah. I really think that you could I guess say like someone like Tom Brady here or Aaron Rodgers for like the most recognizable player right now, but they're on their way out. Mario will be around for much longer than that, and Patrick Mahomes, I think, fits this idea of this is the face that you want your series and you want your franchise to be a part of.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just absolutely. I really am looking forward to it, and I'm not looking forward to the day that we start hating him for his existence, like we're doing with Tom Brady at the moment,
right?
Because that might end up coming someday. For next up for me, I have to give props to I think Coach of the Year candidate. I think that you have a few of these, but I think the biggest. I personally feel like Frank Reich is a runaway favorite right now for the Coach of the Year, just because of how he played on Sunday, or how his team played on Sunday against the Kansas City Chiefs, one of the best teams, if not the best team in the AFC. The Frank Reich was into the season losing his quarterback, with Jacoby Brissett leading the way, and he had this roster that it has been good, but hasn't proven much of anything right now, and he has been just kind of this team has been casted aside, and they're in such a rough spot, but they ended up finding a way to be back in it and to be 3-2 and to actually get to a point where they're going to be contenders down the road, and they could still make a playoff run because this team is that good. And I think about adversity, I think about it all, and I look at Olimar from the Pikmin series because he's a character that basically, the lost situation, and with the tools that he had, the players that he had, the Pikmin that he had, he ended up doing what he could to make the best of a rough situation. Ended up, saving a few worlds here and there. So I think that, and I feel like Frank Reich is that guy to rally around, and he seems like such a likable character. Even back when he had, he was a backup quarterback that came in and just had that amazing comeback against the Oilers back in the day, and has just always been one of those guys that just has been like such a folk hero in the NFL, and to have gotten his head coaching shot after helping Nick Foles win and the Eagles win a championship. It's really interesting to see how this Colts team is going to play out. I'm fascinated. I think that his ability, I think he's going to have the opportunity to really prove a lot of people wrong down the stretch during the season. So that's my other comparison.
I really like that one.
Yeah, definitely.
My final comparison is a player and a character with very similar names. Both of these were kind of talked about, and when you look at it on the outside, it seems like they have insurmountable odds to succeed at the sport in which they are playing. Yet, they are able to overcome it and are able to succeed. And succeed in marvelous ways, despite what anyone may have thought previously. I'm talking about Christian McCaffrey and Little Mac. C-Mac and Little Mac. I really like this comparison just because I think that with how many people were talking about how Christian McCaffrey wasn't going to be a very good NFL running back. He can only catch the ball. He can't do anything to be the full workhorse that a team may need. Mm-hmm. But he's doing it. Yeah. You tell me who else can score or can rack up 273 yards in one game. Like, that is insane.
Yeah,
production.
The only running back closer is Alvin Kamara, and that's about it.
Right. Granted, he is carrying the team right now. Mm-hmm. Christian McCaffrey is, but because of that, like, he's putting his team in a position to succeed long term.
Yeah.
It's really fun to be a Panthers fan right now.
Yeah. And you talked about and Little Mac is kind of like the guy that was able to stand up to all these really tall, big, boxers, and then it just knocked them down one after another. The Panthers are doing, I don't think they've faced like an incredibly difficult opponent yet, in terms of this stretch that they've had with Kyle Allen at quarterback, but
that's true.
I buy. Like I said earlier, I think that with Christian McCaffrey, you have someone that is just going to... He could single-handedly, like you said, carry a team, and I would not be surprised if he alone is the reason why the Panthers win the NFC South or just, make the playoffs generally. Because he's that good of a player right now. And so this segment in particular was a little bit more difficult, especially for me to record because we had to do multiple takes. But this was a really interesting one. I'm interested to see if anyone is listening to this would be interested in kind of giving their own comparison. So let us know a player, a coach, owner, or just a general franchise that reminds you of a particular player in a video game. Let us know on Twitter at Virtual Ball Boys, because I think that would be a very interesting conversation piece. And with that, we're picking games. I'm starting out with my Giants. They lost last week, pretty humiliating fashion, and they're probably gonna be humiliated again this week against the Patriots. Now they're in rough shape, the Giants, and I worry about Daniel Jones in this game a little bit because they're facing one of the best, if not the best, defense in the league at the moment with the Patriots. But they're going to be without Saquon, and they're going to be without Sterling Shepard, and they're potentially going to be without Evan Ingram. So there's your three top offensive players just right out of the gate, just taken out from under you. Bye-bye. Nope, you're not using them. That's it. And you have a defense that has given up so many points, and it's an ugly game waiting to happen. If miracles have happened with the Giants against the Patriots before, Mr. Matt, do you think this is one of them?
No.
Yeah.
You need Eli Manning to beat the Giants, Chris.
To beat the wait,
or
what?
for the Giants to beat the Patriots.
Yeah,
my bad.
Well, you need Eli Manning to beat the Giants.
That comment sounded a lot would have sounded a lot better if I got the team name right.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
At this point, it's hard to pick against the Patriots unless you actually have a capable team facing them.
Yep.
Like I had no qualms with choosing the Bills, and I felt justified in that. I still was not correct, but I felt good about it. I can't feel good about this.
No. You gotta go with the Patriots in this one.
Yes.
And again, Daniel Jones continues to show encouraging signs that he's going to do well in the league. So it's not. I'm glad that he's getting the reps that he is. I would be worried though of putting him out there against this team. It's tough. It's a tough situation to kind of do, especially on a short week. So hopefully Daniel Jones kind of comes out not too beat up, and the team as a whole as well. So that's that.
Yeah. Okay. The next London game of the season, the Carolina Panthers travel there to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is technically a Buccaneers home game. What do you think is going to happen in this matchup?
I think that the Panthers are, like we've talked about before. I think the Panthers are finding their groove, and I look at the Bucs, and I think that as much as I praise Shaq Barrett, I do think the defense as a whole needs to play a little bit better, and I think the moment you put a lot of pressure on Jameis Winston, I just don't think that he's gonna pull through, and I think the Panthers have what it takes to just completely dominate on that front. I think it could be a close game. It's not like the Buccaneers are they're not like a bottom of the line franchise right now. Like they're okay. They have some core in place, so this could be a competitive game. But I just see the Panthers coming out of this with they're a better team right now, so I'm going with them.
I think so too. The last game that they had, where the Panthers faced the Buccaneers, Cam Newton re-injured his foot, and that was the big reason why they lost. Was one of their players, the most important player on the team, at least should be, is not playing at his full strength. Right. So I think that with that in mind, the Panthers will have a much better time.
Yeah, definitely.
So confident, in fact.
Ooh.
This will be my lock, Panthers.
I like it. I like it a lot.
The Carolina McCaffreys are too good to not select them right now.
No, yeah, I get that. I
notice the team name I gave them.
I kind of want to look over it, but yes, in this instance, and you're on a which I actually forgot to bring up because again, bad podcasting on my part. The points. You are currently on a 3-game skid on the guarantees, so yeah, this is a big one.
I know.
Yeah, this is a tough one.
I've only gotten one right this season.
Yeah, this is tough. 4 of the last 5. But it's been a rough season overall for both of us. I've gone 2-3 with my guarantees. Last guarantee I got right was in week 4 with the Patriots. Team KS, we've not got a single one right, where I feel like we went on a stretch run in the past. So
last year we had a lot, I felt.
Yeah, we really, that just kept on piling up for us. So Right now, where it stands, I closed the gap a bit with getting 2 of the 3 games that we disagreed upon. But right now the standings are 43-34 Matt with a -4 qualifier, so that's 5 points. And then for me, I am 42-35 with -3 qualifier, and I'm currently sitting at 4 points. So
okay,
a point behind, a game behind. It's a tight race now.
Yep.
So the Panthers.
Did you also get your guarantee wrong?
I did. It was the Bengals. I should have never picked against a losing. I picked against. I picked a game that had an undefeated team or winless teams.
Winless teams.
And so it was, it was a risk, and I regretted it. So whatever, it is what it is at this point.
Just don't trust the Bengals anymore.
No, definitely not. Which, speaking of, the Cincinnati Bengals are going to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. And this Ravens team came out of a very tight game against the Steelers, and they won it. And the Bengals lost in also a tight fashion to a previously winless Arizona Cardinals. What do you think, Matt?
I think that the Ravens have surprisingly had some struggles over the past couple weeks. They beat a Steelers team with a miracle Justin Tucker kick.
Yeah.
Who are now on their third string quarterback.
Yeah.
Which is a little concerning. However, the Bengals. Point A, the Ravens haven't been playing as well. Point B, the Bengals.
Yeah.
Exist. So I'm still going to go with the Ravens. I still think that they pull this one out. Maybe being at home will help them out a little bit.
Yeah, I gotta go Ravens. I just don't have any faith in the Bengals, and if they do win this game, it's very much, now the house is on fire for the Ravens. Gotta figure out, what's happening there.
Okay, so next up is the Seattle Seahawks traveled to Cleveland to take on the Browns. The Seahawks coming off of a nice victory. Who did they face?
They faced the Rams.
The Rams. Yeah, so they beat the Rams on Thursday night, which was a big deal.
Yes.
And they traveled to Cleveland, who just got spanked by the 49ers.
Yes.
How do you think this game's going to go?
Yeah, big issues right now with the Browns. They are the offensive line's not helping Baker, but Baker's not helping himself either. Yeah, he's not stepping up into the pocket. He's running away from his offensive line, and that's just causing more problems and easier for the defenders to tackle. The Browns defense, which was, has been playing great, just got obliterated by, one of the more dynamic offenses in the league right now, the Niners. So, I do think that victory was more the Niners' dominance than the Browns, but there is cause for concern, and the Browns are staring 2-5 the face with the Patriots coming after the bye that they're coming in the next few weeks. So this is tough situation for the Browns. I love the Browns. I love their roster, but they're not doing the job right now. I gotta go Seahawks, just to be safe.
I also have to go with Seahawks. Russell Wilson is another one of those guys who is just playing at an MVP level right now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think after Thursday night, I think a lot of people are kind of seeing that. Yeah, he's one of the best in the league, and he should be. He's top 3 quarterback, in my opinion.
Oh, no question.
So next up, the Kansas City Chiefs coming off a tough loss against the Colts, their first loss of the season. Now they are still at home, luckily, and they're bringing in the Houston Texans with Deshaun Watson, 2 guys that were drafted in the same draft class, 2 of the later draft class quarterbacks after Trubisky, and this is going to be a very fun game to watch. I think this could be a shootout in the making. Even though the Texans have a tough defense, Chiefs have been trying to play better on defense as well. It's interesting. It's a tough game to pick. Well, what do you think is going to happen in this one, Matt?
This one is hard, but I think this will be the chance for the Chiefs to bounce back. The thing about playing against a good organization versus with maybe not as good players and a bad organization with great players is that sometimes the coaching makes a big difference. And I don't think Bill O'Brien is as good of a coach as Frank Reich is.
Or Andy Reid, you mean?
No, I mean Frank Reich.
Well, Frank.
With,
I see what you mean. Yes, because the
yeah.
Colts were the better franchise at the moment. Yes, okay. I'm sorry,
Yes.
I got so thrown off right there. I was like, wait,
No,
what?
it's all right. I wasn't making myself clear.
Yeah.
So I still think the Chiefs will bounce back, take this one. The Chiefs are still, by and large, I believe, the team to beat. They have shown some weaknesses, and it'll be interesting to see if the Texans can capitalize on it.
Yeah.
This is like the ultimate like Mario versus Luigi matchup.
Though.
Like Watson like came out in the same year. Yeah. I think is taller than Mahomes. Let me look that up.
I don't know about that. Well, he's kind of like in the background now because he was the star initially, and now he's in the background, which that was not ever true about Luigi. But you know, you see, he's kind of not as talked about at all compared to Mahomes, even though Deshaun Watson is making magic on his own. This is and to me, this is a tough game to pick because I just think that you have an argument right now where the Chiefs are beat up, that they're down to quite a few players, and especially Chris Jones on the defensive line, which is huge. And you have a Texas team that had you dropped a 50 burger on the Falcons. I know it's the Falcons, but the
Chiefs have a kind of bad defense too,
and they kind of have a bad defense too. So it's an interesting game. I'm gonna guarantee the Chiefs. I really shouldn't do this to myself, but
that's really bold.
I like playing along the line. There's something thrilling about trying in terms of playing into just a impossible situation where I know I'm probably gonna screw up by doing this, but I think it's gonna go right for me. So I'm going to guarantee the Chiefs. I just think that they do bounce back in this game, that they adjust and they make it right. I think the Texans, they've had their moments of greatness, and I think that they are playing well, but I just don't, like you said, I just don't think that they have the it factor right now. I think that they kind of have, they're kind of held back by, the offensive line did better in the last few weeks, but they're still kind of, it's still not where it could be. And I just don't know how this defense stops Patrick Mahomes. I don't think they've really faced a quarterback that has done as well as Mahomes. I mean, I think obviously, but just definitely all around, I don't know if they can really be in this game as much. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I'm guaranteeing it.
I'm also going to go with the Chiefs, not guaranteeing it, because I like my sanity. And I need to get something right this season.
No, for sure. I get it.
Yeah, so I like the Chiefs here. It's a good bounce back game. The Texans are still a weird team to pick, but against the Chiefs, you have to go with the Chiefs.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it.
Next up is the I hate myself game of the week. The Washington Redskins unwinned. Take on the Miami Dolphins, also unwinned. Washington fired their head coach. I'm going to use unwinned.
Okay.
Washington just fired their head coach, Jay Gruden. We didn't really get to talk about that yet. Chris, you've had a theory. I want to point out you've had a theory in the past that as soon as a head coach is fired, their team starts to do better and immediately help that's the fuel to help turn the table. You were right with the Packers last year. Does that logic still apply with this organization?
I don't think so, because I think they fired the wrong guy. I think that there is backing to that theory, and like you said, that happened with the Packers last year, and it has happened in many other phases before. So I mean, I don't know, but I just think that Jay Gruden did what he could in a franchise that completely set him up for failure. And I feel bad for him. I hope that he lands on his feet. I hope he gets another head coaching job. Because I think you look back to when he was the offensive coordinator with the Bengals, they did magical work. And I think that he has he has done his job as much as he could with the talent that he had around him. He got the team in poor condition to a wild card berth. It just hasn't come out in the last few weeks. I know that things had to change, but things more so have to change in Washington to get it right. I'm gonna go with the Dolphins. I hate myself for this. I'm going with the Dolphins because I think the Dolphins have actually shown that they could be competitive in some of these games, at least early on, and they're coming off a bye week, and they played close to the Chargers until the end, and against a really bad Redskins team, I think they do it, and again at home. I'm gonna go Dolphins just to give them one win this year, just to give them one pick in their direction, and I'm never picking them again. This is the time I'm gonna pick them.
I think I agree with you.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It really sucks. But I think I have to agree with you. There's no hope in Washington right now. That's not a euphemism or representation of anything else going on right now, but saying no hope in Washington. But like, God, I hate this organization so much.
Yeah.
Like, I hate, as a Bears fan, I hate the Packers. But I hate the Washington organization so much.
Yeah, it's just dysfunctional from the top down, and the players were even saying themselves that they don't think Jay Gruden was the issue, and they got rid of Jay Gruden before they got rid of a general manager who's not helped them do anything in the last decade. It's insane.
It's so bad there, and I hope that their refusal to get with the modern times and change their goddamn name, like, that stubbornness is what is keeping them in this hell. Who's the left tackle who's holding out?
Trent Williams.
He is the example of what every player on that organization needs to do.
Yeah.
If you want to see change there, if you actually want to play for this organization, it pisses me off.
They're
up.
just not there.
Fins up.
Yeah, this is the time to root for the Dolphins this week, and that's about it. Then we can all go back to our shitting on the Dolphins train this week with a coach who I do still kind of believe in Brian Flores. I know he's only in his fourth game.
Brian Flores gets a pass this year.
Yeah, I stand by you, Brian Flores. I am Brian Flores. That t-shirts. I am Brian Flores. All right, next up, the Philadelphia Eagles go to Minnesota to take on the Vikings, and the Eagles are coming off just a dominating win against the Jets team that was not ready for them, and you have the Vikings who finally showed that they can move the ball and pass the ball forward. Isn't that an amazing concept, Vikings, that you actually can move the ball forward and pass it? That's and have it in the air and not held
with the best receiver duo in the league.
Yeah, it's a good.
And a quarterback you paid $84 million for.
Yeah, exactly. These are magical things that you can discover about yourself. And so this is a good game, a very sneaky good game for the week. I'm looking forward to it. What do you think is going to happen?
The Eagles are beat up a little bit, and obviously they had an easy win this past week.
Sure.
But I think I'm going to still go with the Eagles here. I don't see a lot from the Vikings yet that I trust them to do full power. My computer is working overtime right now, and I'm not sure why.
Okay.
This is giant. My fan is going crazy. I'm not doing anything insane.
Yeah, no, it's understandable.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with the Eagles still. I think. Yep. I really believe in them. I think that they're even though they're banged up, when their offense is working, it's working. And Minnesota may not have the easiest time dealing with it.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat as you. I feel like the Eagles are in a kind. They're in a situation where I just think that they, at their best, are the best team in the league, and at their worst, they're like mediocre at worst. Like they're still a good team, and I think they're a tough team to play. And and it's a tough place to play in US Bank. US Bank has kind of, even though it's a newer stadium, it's kind of shown how hard it is to play in. It's such a great atmosphere there, and I think that the Vikings, even though they have so many of these advantages, I don't. They're kind of reminding me of the Titans in the sense that I just don't know if they could do it every single week, and I think the Eagles were going to come through. They're going to have a masterful game plan. They're going to take them down. I have a lot of faith in that. So I'm going to go Eagles.
Next up, New Orleans Saints take on the Jacksonville Jaguars in Florida. Yep. The New Orleans Saints coming off of a victory against, who did they play?
Bucks.
The Buccaneers, my failed Team Chaos, showing that they still have the players and that they could really be dominant once Drew Brees comes back. Teddy Bridgewater is doing the work he needs to. Where Minshew Mania finally wore off last week. I wouldn't even say worn off. I would just say that it went McCaffrey's way.
Yes.
What do you think is going to happen in this matchup?
This was a tough week to pick a Team Chaos, I believe. And I am looking at this situation, look at the rest of the schedule, and I'm just like, there's a few ones that I want to go with, and there's a few that I just picked, and I don't know, I just don't know if I feel comfortable putting a Team Chaos moniker on, but I look at this game, and I think that there is a time where I think the Saints, as good as they are, that they're going to have to take an L at some point. And this is the first time in 2 weeks that they're out of their stadium. They're going to Florida, and they're taking on a Jaguars team that I think overall has played relatively well. And I don't doubt the Jaguars at the moment, and I still believe in Gardner Minshew. I think that they figure out a way to win this game. It's going to be my Team Chaos of the week. I just want something interesting to happen. Please, God, let this Team Chaos go through for once.
I respect the hell out of you.
It is a tough matchup. In every way. It's just a tough it's a tough week, like I said. And I think to pick a Team Chaos, this I feel very comfortable with. I think that this could happen. I can envision this upset happening, and so that's why I'm leaning in this direction. I'm going Jaguars.
All right. I think I'm going to go Saints just for the safer play.
Yes, no problem.
But I would not. I honestly would not be surprised if the Jaguars won.
Yeah, it's weird things happen week to week. I think this could happen.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Falcons take on the Arizona Cardinals, and both of these teams have one win apiece. The Cardinals are going to look to try to get to 2 wins in a row, while the Falcons, they're just trying to find something. They're the only team. Or I shouldn't say that. I for some reason I was thinking the Eagles were 4-1. But they were one of the teams that beat the Eagles earlier on. But then they've just collapsed completely. Their defense is nothing. It is just bad, and the offense is not in sync. This Falcons team is a mess. And I trust this coaching staff more than Arizona. But the Cardinals could be an upset candidate. What do you think is going to happen?
I have to trust in Atlanta at least a little bit. Like, if you want any respect as an organization this year, you have to win this game. Otherwise, we may get our second head coach firing. If Atlanta loses, I honestly think Dan Quinn is gone. Which is really surprising. But I'm still going to go with Atlanta here.
Yeah.
Their offense is really good, and even though their defense is injury-riddled as hell, Matt Ryan is playing out of his mind right now to try to salvage this team, and it's not working very well. But I still think they'll beat the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think that Dan Quinn, as a guy who made it to the Super Bowl just a few seasons ago, I think he could be fired at the end of the season. It would be kind of stunning for me. And considering Arthur Blank is the owner of the Falcons, is kind of known for being a more patient guy, I could see him maybe waiting the season out and then making the move. I would be stunning to me if he does get fired. With that being said, it's going to be hard if this team loses in this game and to kind of think, well, maybe they could turn it around. I mean, teams have come back from 1-5 before, but it's a tough task. I'm gonna go Cardinals on this one. I know that's a risky play, but I feel like with Kyler Murray, they started to show how dangerous Kyler Murray is. I mean, if you watch that game, he was running in the middle of the field, and he was a guy that you just did not know if you could stop. He is playing really well, and the offense is starting to show its power in this game. And I know that certainly I'm not going to try to compare Matt Ryan to Andy Dalton in any way, shape, or form, but I do think that the offenses for both the Falcons and the Bengals that we thought would be better going into the season are really down the tank. I think the Cardinals, being at home, I think they take advantage of that. I think the Cardinals get away with a win here.
Okay. Yeah, this one's hard for me.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It sucks. It sucks where the Falcons are.
Yep. The undefeated San Francisco 49ers take on the Los Angeles Rams, just coming off of a win of a divisional opponent, and now have to face another
loss.
Divisional loss, that's what I meant. My words aren't wording right tonight.
That's totally fine.
So the Rams just lost, 49ers just won again, and this is going to be, I think, like a spotlight game on what the direction of this division is going to go.
Sure.
With the Seahawks also involved. Like, the NFC West has 3 really competitive teams right now, which is awesome.
It's an awesome division.
How do you think this matchup is going to go?
Oh, man. I kind of hinted at it earlier, and I just think the Niners have earned my respect at this point. It's a tough task. It's going to Los Angeles. It's a tough task. You're going against Sean McVay. They've beaten you a lot. But I think a battle of the minds between McVay and Shanahan is just going to be an epic battle. And I just think the way things are built, it's a hard world to imagine the Rams at 3-3. But I just think that Shanahan is on a roll right now. And I think that he's just going to prove the world more and more wrong with each passing week. And I think they're going to do it by taking down this Rams team. I really think that they can do it. I am stunned by this, but the Niners are great, and I can't go after them for that. So going with them.
Yeah, I think the Rams defense not being as solid as it can be, minus Aaron Donald, of course, is telling for the fact that the 49ers are going to run all over this team. Yeah, as they tend to do every week, because Kyle Shanahan is the greatest thing to ever happen to running backs. The concept of a running back.
Yeah, probably. He's up there.
Yeah. 49ers at the end of the season are going to not only claim the NFC West champion title, but also claim the AFC North champion title. They're going to beat the Ravens when the Ravens come to town, or they go to Baltimore. I don't know who's going where.
Niners will be going to Baltimore.
Okay. Regardless, the 49ers, I'm going to go with them.
Yeah.
Remain undefeated, which is wild.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It is wild. It's good, but it's fun. I love a new team in the mix. This is a fun group to watch. Next up, Sam Darnold's back, everyone. His liver is no longer at risk. Spleen. Why did I say liver? I don't know. Well, his liver's no longer at risk either, if it ever was. The Jets are gonna have their quarterback back, and just in time for the freaking Dallas Cowboys, who are coming off of 2 straight losses and are kind of reeling right now. The Jets, they have not shown anything, though, on paper to show that they're a competent team. And even though Sam Darnold's coming back and he could probably improve, he certainly will improve the offense a little bit. It's going to be tough against the Cowboys team that is just looking for it to get back into the mix of things and get back to winning. What do you think is going to happen in this one?
Yeah, see, with the Cowboys, everyone was going really big on them with their first few games, but their first few games were against really bad teams.
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned this last week. And now they're facing good teams, and they're starting to suck. Well, good news for them, they're facing a bad team again. I think the Jets are obviously better off with Darnold playing, and I hope Darnold has a good game back. But
Yeah.
it's going to be a while before I think they get back into that rhythm that they
Yeah.
need to be in. So
Yeah.
I'm still going to go with Dallas for this one.
I mini rant here, but Adam Gase is terrible.
Adam Gase is he's so bad.
He's a bad head coach, and he's shown it through the first few weeks here that he gave snaps to Darnold. He gave a ton of snaps to Darnold and barely any snaps to Luke Falk, who is starting. He gave a ton last week, and then he decided to start Luke Falk anyway, even though he had no practice time essentially during the week to go against the Philadelphia Eagles, and it showed so much that the Jets were just clearly unprepared. That's not how you get prepared for an opponent. Your goal is to try to win games when you don't have your quarterback, not to just completely flat out suck ass. And it just the Adam Gase experience in New York could be the one and done this year. I would actually almost put money on it. It is that bad of a situation right now. I do not understand why they hired him in the first place, and I don't understand why he's even still there. They need to get rid of him. He is that bad right now for the New York Jets. So that's my take. The Cowboys are gonna win, by the way. Imagine if I just turn around and just be like, Team Chaos. I already have my Team Chaos though. So, no, Cowboys have got it.
All right, the second most frustrating matchup of the week, the Tennessee Titans, who came off of a loss to the Bills, are traveling to Denver, who just got their first win of the season. Go you, Denver. I'm proud of you. What do you think the results of this game will be?
Man, I hate Titans games. I fucking hate Titans games. But the good news is I got one right last week. We both did.
We did.
We both got a game against the Titans. We got them right where we picked against it. And you know what? I'm picking against the Titans again this week. I like the Broncos at home with a defense that's starting to show itself again, that's starting to get its groove back. The offense with Philip Lindsay, I know that he's not been the showstopper that he was last year, but he's getting there. He's getting back into the mix. I like this team a lot. The Titans, they have a decent defense. There's no question about that. But it's the inconsistencies from them is just they're going to be amplified in a quite literal amplified altitude stadium in high. I don't trust this Titans team. I don't think they're going to win this game. I'm going with the Broncos.
I think we're going to go Broncos as well. They got some nice momentum beating the Chargers, and it may carry them into this game. Yeah. At home, it sweetens the deal. Fuck the Titans.
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
I think the thing with the Broncos, they could be one of those franchises. I mean, I shouldn't call it like this, but I could see this Broncos team making a run, just out of nowhere, where we could start talking about
like the Colts from last year.
Kind of, yeah. Where I think that they could do enough down the stretch. They have tough opponents in the West, but I think I could see a scenario, and we're going to talk about them right now, where the Chargers are last place in the division, where it's all said and done.
Yeah.
That's the situation that we're at right now. So speaking of, the Chargers are hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers with a third-string quarterback in Delvin Hodges, who I've never, million years heard of.
Where did he go to college?
Good. Samford, I believe.
Really? By the way, it just showed up in my thing. He did not Stanford, Samford.
That's why I said Samford.
Oh, I thought you said Stanford.
Nope, Samford.
Yeah, okay. We're saying the same things.
It just sounds like we're saying the same.
Patrick Mahomes is 1 inch taller than Deshaun Watson, by the way.
Okay.
I didn't bring that up earlier.
Yeah. Is Watson the true Mario? You guys decide. Sorry.
Well, when you turn I was about to say, well, you turn the W upside down, it's an M, but Mahomes is already an M. So.
Oh shit! Fuck, our theories are falling apart. So the Chargers are they're still beat up, and they're not, they're just not the team that they were last year right now, and it's showing. And the Steelers, they're playing more competitive than they were, earlier in the year. And
They're playing so much more competitive than they should be.
yeah, but again, saddled by a third string quarterback. So who knows? What do you think's going to happen?
I think the luck is going to fall this way to the Chargers this time.
Okay.
It despite the being beaten up, I think getting this unlucky, it's gonna turn around for them. So I'm gonna go with Chargers.
Yeah. So I gotta go with the Chargers. I mean, it would be different if Mason Rudolph was quarterbacking, because I would have totally 100% would have been like, all right, I'm going Steelers Team Chaos easy, but it's just it doesn't. I can't do it with a guy who I should give credit. He didn't play that terrible, but he didn't play like amazing or anything like that either. He's a little rusty, and I think that it's gonna be tough in a primetime setting to get get a W out of him. So
this is primetime. Okay.
This is Sunday Night Football. True. So yeah. Chargers. I'm gonna go with Chargers in this one as well. And another note too. I actually don't know. I believe Mason Rudolph has been ruled out, but I haven't really gotten much talk about his injury. He was knocked out cold.
With how bad of a hit that was.
Yeah,
he's gonna be out.
Yeah, he's gonna be out for a little while. But I'm unsure as to what his current condition is. He's probably in concussion protocol. Yeah. But I haven't heard much outside of how tough it did look on Sunday. So but yeah, I'm going Chargers as well.
All right, and then our final matchup of the week: the Detroit Lions, coming off of their bye, go and face the Green Bay Packers. Detroit 2-1-1, Green Bay 4-1. What do you think the outcome of this game is going to be?
Sneaky good game. Sneaky.
Yeah, I agree.
I already know what direction you're going with it, just to get with process of
given the
elimination
direction
here.
of the podcast so far.
Yes,
it's
kind of implied. But I'll say this: I think that the Lions deserve our respect. Deserve some love. I know we didn't include them in the love circle. I think that they're playing out of their mind. I would not be surprised if they come into Green Bay win this. But I just think that the Green Bay is a tough place to win. I think that the Packers, they're starting to get their groove. They're starting to beat really good teams, or what we think should be really good teams. And I have faith that this is going to be a victory for them. I just don't want to count against Mr. Aaron Rodgers, so I'm going with the Packers.
That is true. And Monday Night Team Chaoses suck because we always leave them until the end.
It's
not a big build-up at all.
Yeah.
But the Lions they sometimes just tend to have the Packers number for no reason.
Yeah.
When Matthew Stafford is healthy, at least.
Definitely.
And they almost beat the Chiefs. Granted, this is in Green Bay, so that may influence how things work. But I see a world in which the Lions can win this game. The Lions are better than we thought they were, and I'm going to Team Chaos it.
Yeah. I think those are the two locks this week that for Jaguars over Saints and Lions over Packers. The Cats. I think the Cats are the ones that that make the most sense for some chaos scenarios here. So I'm
and you've got the other Cats. The Panthers is my lock, and the Bengals are completely irrelevant. So
yeah, the Bengals are just out and drifted out to sea. So there they go. Bye Bengals.
Bye.
So
what's that movie? Is it Life of Pi?
Yeah, that's it. That's it right there. That's the Bengals. That's their existence at the moment. So, anyways, we got 3 disagreements, both of our Team Chaoses, as well as the next to the Redskins Dolphins, the worst matchup of the week in Falcons Cardinals.
Yes.
So
watch each team score 50 points because their defenses are so bad.
Oh, it could be a shootout, which could be that could be a fun game. That could be a very, very fun game. The Bengals Cardinals game was actually pretty fun. So I don't you never know, and that's why the Dolphins Redskins will be hailed as one of the best games of all time. That's
it's gonna be amazing. Later in the season where these because we have this season's weird because you have a lot of teams that are in the middle.
Yeah.
And not very many, like, cream of the crop teams.
Sure.
And then a lot of just shit.
Yeah.
So later on in the season, when like it's very clear that these teams aren't in playoff contention, but they're all facing each other.
Yeah.
Like they're going to be amazing games that will have absolutely no consequence,
no relevance at all, and they'll never be considered for like top 100 games of all time or whatever. All right, so there you have it. And this is it's gonna be a tight matchup overall, but I'm looking forward to how it plays out. We're getting closer and closer to the quarter pole, not quarter pole, the halfway pole, the halfway point of the season. We're about 3 weeks away from that, so stay tuned for that.
Week 9 is my favorite week.
Yes, it is.
Week 9, after week 9 concludes, is when Chris and I redo all of our picks.
Basically, yeah, it's a complete upheaval of all the things we've gotten wrong, and we try to adjust from there and see how we can do on that front. So, all right, with that all being said, my friends, I think that does it for us. If I remember, I'll post on Twitter what video game characters, video game protagonists in particular, could you compare an NFL player, coach, or other to? So please let us know at Virtual Ball Boys on that front, and of course, as always, at Team Chaos Pods for any other content, which really has just been Virtual Ball Boys. We'll get there. We'll get
soon.
We're really early on trying to build all this stuff. And we all have.
We will not shut up once we get new things.
Yeah, we have outside work that we deal with. That's how we pay our bills. And so we'll focus on that. But we will find the time to really get other projects underway. And maybe at some point we could start doing. I think if we start doing ad reads on this podcast, it's gonna be a lot of fun, especially with you. Your existence. So
we're gonna lose a lot of sponsors.
For sure. With the bits that we create. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching or for listening. I can always say that. I'm so used to the video format of things that we do. So thank you so much for listening.
You listen to podcasts.
Yeah, you listen. See you next week.
Good night and good ball. Virtual Ball Boys has been brought to you by Team Chaos Productions. Find us on Twitter at Virtual Ball Boys and find more of our work at Team Chaos Pods.